right, good morning, guys. Hope you're doing well today. Cummings Cast episode 9. Here we go. I have Mr. Mark Richa, aka Richa as I call him. So Mr. Richa's been with me since the early days. He's in the Timonium office. I see him more than most people in my life. So Mark, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
And doing this. So just a quick little 3-minute background, so I shut up and let you talk a little bit. But give us, just a quick little hit piece on yourself, when you got started, how long you've been in the business, all that good stuff.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I started with Ryan Homes, and so when I graduated college from Towson University, I started with Ryan Homes.
Here we go with Towson University.
That's right, represent.
Yeah.
Started in 2005 in new construction.
Okay.
And I was with them for about 4 years. Okay. And so I was on the sales side, went through extensive sales training with them. And then I also was in the field building as a project manager for about a year. And then I came out into resale in 2009.
And what brought you to resale? Which I know what brought you to resale, but tell everybody else.
Yeah. The Great Recession. So we like to call it in our family the Richa Depression of 2009.
The Richa Depression.
Yeah. And so
2009.
Yeah. So it was not a great time for the real estate market, and
the builders basically were like letting new construction folks that were sitting in model homes go, because like literally no one was coming in the door.
Absolutely.
And they literally wouldn't even pay the salary to have you make sure that they could get people into the properties. So
exactly. So I
remember that. It seems crazy now to think that.
I know. It's times have changed
in this market.
So yeah, I was a 4th round of layoff, so that I could pride myself that I wasn't the 1st round.
All right.
And so yeah. So I remember.
So you came to the Lutherville office,
yes,
and you were like green, and so you got linked into the office when I didn't really have a protocol on not having new agents, because I just didn't really have any agents at that point. I don't know, where do you think you fall in the pecking order of the brokerage? Top 30 or so?
Yeah, I mean, probably at least, yeah.
So. And then so we had opened the Lutherville Timonium office across from Watson's Garden Center on York Road, which we no longer, we transferred over to Timonium. So you were there. I remember Tim Kenny also had gotten laid off or gotten into resale after leaving Ryan Homes. His wife Paige at the time, she had been with Rupert Homes. She also got laid off. I mean, it was. So then you're like, all right, so I had no real estate. I have, there's nobody buying houses, but I'll just get into the real side, resale side of things.
Yes.
And I remember in the early days, everybody was like, is this kid going to make it? He asked so many damn questions.
Hey,
I mean, you questioned.
Gotta ask questions.
You questioned away.
That's right.
You learned everything. Right. And it wasn't just questions about the contract. It was questions about how you're doing your marketing, how you're doing lead gen.
Totally.
You're just like a sponge, just walking around.
If you're the smartest person in a room, find another room, right?
Yeah.
So you got to ask questions and learn from people that were in it longer and had success. And I felt good about having 4 years of construction and real estate, but resale is different. Yeah. There's overlap, but it's different.
Yeah. So I mean, just to give a sense, everybody, like, I'm not going to ask you to tell your stats because they're pretty, great. So I'm just going to do it for you, so you don't have to feel like you're tooting your own horn. But to toot Mark's own horn, basically, he's been in the top 3 people probably forever. He was number 1 for many, many years, and the brokerage has grown. But he's always sort of pretty much stayed in the top 5, top 3. I mean, last year you were number 2.
Yes.
The year before you were number 2, individual agent.
Yes.
So you've always done between about 20 to 26, 27 million sometimes.
27 was my top.
Yeah. But it's always been above 20 for the last decade. So that's $500,000 in commissions.
Somewhere in there.
And you also work in some rental properties and a couple fix up and resale flips, as they call them. I like to call fix up and sell. So you're over 20 million every year for a long time. So that's something that is very impressive, because there's people that have, a peak year and then, it tails off because a lot of their clients have just, they've worked through their cycle and then it's not a lot of action. But for you to be consistently doing over 20 million for all these years, you stay in the top of brokerage, tell us how you started that in the beginning and how, what you do now, how you maintain that. Can you give us a little bit of your playbook and any thoughts, suggestions, words of wisdom?
Yeah. I mean, geez, that's tough.
Because there's nobody else, no offense, that I can think of that is there are other people, but that is very consistent for a decade to be doing that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I am consistent in certain things. Like, I do home anniversary cards, so in my spreadsheet, I've got, when they closed, and every year I do the anniversary. It was too much for me to do birthdays.
You're another spreadsheet guy.
Yeah, I'm a spreadsheet guy. Yeah, and it works. And I have my own system. People think I'm crazy, but
yeah,
I have my own system, and it just works. But
that's the beauty of what I like is everybody here can have their own system.
Yeah,
I suggest things, but I don't force anybody to do anything.
Totally.
So if that gets you to 20 million every year, by golly,
use
that Excel spreadsheet.
There's no secret sauce. So I do home anniversary cards, which I get feedback from. People text me saying, "Hey, thanks for remembering." I'm like, "Hey, don't worry, I didn't remember, but I have it in a spreadsheet." I would say that, but and sometimes you got to sell the sizzle, not the steak.
Yeah, there you go.
So
we're gonna have to use that later.
There you go. So, but yeah, I do that, and I do 2 newsletters a year.
Okay.
Orioles magnets, Ravens
you
magnets.
Say newsletters like out the mail.
Yeah, snail mail.
Hard copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I send my Oriole magnet and Ravens magnet, spring and fall, I send a letter with it.
Gotcha.
As well.
Real estate update, a personal update,
yeah,
both.
Everything. Yep,
yeah.
Everything.
Okay.
And then just a reminder to be, let people know what I'm doing and that I'm still here. I mean, half the battle is, are you still in business? You know? And then I do a client party every summer.
Yes,
so.
I've come to your client party.
Yes.
So you have a great client party. You do that at Pringle Creamery. It's called.
Yep.
Yeah, ice cream place.
Yep.
And you do it with another agent. You guys can kind of combine forces and bring your contacts and kind of make the party look larger.
Yes.
And you have a couple hundred people come, it seems like?
And we've had over 300 come.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and the great thing is, the other agent with their clients, they don't know that it's a combined party, and my clients don't know that it's a combined party.
Yeah.
So when you're there and there's 350 people there, your clients are like, "Damn, you're freaking awesome."
Yeah.
So it's the sizzle, right?
Right.
So
Got it. So client party, mailers, and then I'm on, I think, on your email newsletter.
Yes.
Yes, you do and how often is that?
That's once a month.
Once a month, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that just like something you've set up online and you have everybody in there and that goes out? It's a little bit of listings, a little bit of
yes.
No matter, depending on the time of year, something that's going on around town, and then just a little personal update on there.
Yeah, pretty much all that. And I have somebody, that does all my social media do all that, so I don't even really think about it.
Right. So you have a separate person that does your social media, and he or she works a certain amount of hours a week. It just depends on what's going on.
Yep. She gets it done. And
how many hours a week are you using for the social media person?
She probably does, I don't know, 5 or 10 hours a week.
5
maybe.
to 10 hours.
Yeah, with everything.
Right, so it's not like this is something that. A side thing for this person, or she has multiple clients or whatever she does.
Yeah, I think she might have somebody else that she helps too, but she also does all my mailings. So I'm not
right.
I do the handwritten anniversary cards and I do that.
I see. So Mark's in the office every morning at, I don't know how early you're in.
Between 7:30 and 8. Yeah.
And you've worked with that person for a couple of years now. I feel
three or 4 years.
So that's great. So you just find your own little resources.
Yeah.
You work with key transaction management for years now, pretty regularly. Obviously, they're a la carte depending on your business cycle, but
Absolutely.
you're a key transaction. Loyal key transaction for
they're great. They're great.
So I mean, what else have you done, and what other sort of touch points or things that you do that I guess have helped you be able to, I mean, your units are what, like 60 to 70 a year? I don't feel like it's ever been in the 50s for quite a while.
No, so I'd say last year I was a little lower. I was at 60, but I'm usually in the 70s. The highest I did was like 82.
Jeez,
so
82, yeah. So 60 to 70 units per year. So it's not like that you're hitting 20 million at $1 million a house.
No,
your price point is, so you've always been open to trying to work different areas, different price points. Do you have a philosophy on what type of business you'll take?
I mean, if I can handle it, I will take it. Because sometimes the smallest deals will land you the bigger client. One of my an executive that was a $2 million house who I did multiple transactions with and referred me to other executives. And they're all at least $1 million houses, was a guy that I used to cut his lawn when I was in high school.
Yeah.
In college. So,
right. And he likes your lawn hustle.
Yeah. So, and yeah, so he only knew me as a lawn boy, and it worked out. So you just never know where the business comes from, but it's just being able to manage it and show up and do a good job.
Yeah. And then, I mean, what are some other things like day to day that you do? Like, I know that I remember like you're sort of over COVID. It was like you were like texting
Yes.
client. I mean, you were still out working and stuff, and you sort of worked a sort of campaign to like reconnect with people by, texting them when you're out showing properties and stuff, like taking pictures of their old house. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just send them a text, or if I was driving through their neighborhood, just be like, "Hey, I was thinking about you. Driving through your neighborhood, and hope all is well." And little things like that, they would just start engaging, and sometimes it led directly to a lead, and other times it was just, "Hey, I'm still around, and I'm still thinking about you."
Yeah.
So.
And then, in terms of like, you're not big into CRM, but you definitely have a system for touch points. Yep. I mean, have you gone into, realtor.com leads, Zillow leads? I mean, we're, 60 to 70 people every year.
Yeah.
Is there anything else outside of like your client party, your touch points that you're really doing?
I mean, a lot of it's just the relationships that I've had for, years and years. I mean, I've been in the general area for a long time, so
yeah. Can we talk about, like, I feel like we have a fun fact when you talk about you being in the general area for a long time.
Yes.
So I would say that not too many people could say this.
Yes.
So give me a little line on your fun fact that I feel like we talked about over the years. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. So I grew up in Lutherville, 21093. Have never left, so I'm also
your head is always laid down.
Yes,
in the 21093, pretty much
100%.
Your residence.
Yep, you need to.
So growing up,
yes,
college.
Yep, high school, college.
Your Lutherville office was in 093 too, right?
Yes.
Current offices. So you live and work.
Yes,
in the same zip code.
All of it, Captain Lutherville.
Captain Lutherville.
That's what my buddies call me. So
that is pretty funny. Yep. Yes, that is some serious Captain Lutherville. So that's also probably helped. Like you really have like people like around you, like know you because you've been consistently there.
I'm selling houses to people that I went to kindergarten with, and then also their parents.
Yeah.
And one thing, I've been working on my business for 35 years. I just didn't know that I was.
Right.
So, and I think and that's one thing that I tell my kids, like, hey, the relationships that you build here now will come full circle, down the road, no matter what you end up doing. If you end up staying local, you will bump into these people again. So, don't be an idiot.
Right. How you handle yourself is going to like always sort of follow you.
100%.
Yeah. And now you're also licensed in Pennsylvania and Delaware.
Yes.
You were fortunate enough to be able to buy a place down in Bethany a couple years or summers ago or whatever. Yep. You have two young children pretty much. I mean, both elementary school age or sixth grader now?
Carolina is in seventh grade.
Seventh year. She's 1 year. Yeah. So seventh and Nate's what, fifth? Fourth, yeah.
Yep.
So you've young children, been doing this the whole time through the grind. Your wife works full time as well.
Yep.
You guys still find a balance. You now have a place at the beach. You get to the beach. So I mean, as having your license in other states helped you as well?
Yeah, I mean it's been great. So Pennsylvania, I've been licensed with, even in new construction, I was licensed since 2008, and then I was super pleased when you ended up getting licensed here because I just transferred it over. But I probably do 10 or 12 deals a year in Pennsylvania, and then with Delaware that I've gotten the last couple of years, I'm selling several homes in the beaches area, the last couple of years. It's been great because now my sphere of influence is now starting to buy second homes, and it's great to be able to service.
You're
that.
Right there, ready to go.
So it's a great excuse for me to jump down and hang out at the beach.
Yeah, and then when you are down the beach on the weekends with the family, you've sort of set up like showing help and stuff because obviously with $20 million a year, you have to have clients basically at all times out looking, all times you're negotiating. Are you kind of at all times pretty much?
It's hard to turn off, but like yes, I have. People in the brokerage, what you set up a few years ago is great for showings. But yeah.
The $40 an hour system, showing coverage system.
It's huge.
Yeah. So you've got a couple people that you connect with that work with on a regular basis
100%.
on that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, and one thing that I say, like on the weekends.
And is your clients okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like, yeah.
You explain it to them.
Yeah. I can't be everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
But like
but you're still out on the street doing the majority of the showings if you're 100%. In town.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. I really feel like you're very hands-on.
I am.
You don't just
I am.
I mean, you use the resources of social media, key transaction management, but I feel like you're in the office. I saw you the other day. You said you had 18 handwritten anniversary notes that morning to do. That's
right.
I was like, all right, I'll leave you alone.
Yeah, I mean, people when they work with you, they want to work with you.
Yeah,
and whether they refer to you. I mean, that's the thing about passing somebody off 100%. It's kind of like, well, I was kind of referred to you, so why,
Yeah.
But they also know that, hey, I can't be everywhere all the time, and I have people that help out, which has been huge.
Yeah. So I think that's good. That you have those different relationships built within the office.
Yes.
Of people that you can go to, and they know that you'll square them away financially on the Venmo thing and all that.
Yeah,
so it's like a win-win for.
That's great.
For everybody.
That's great.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then during the week, I always say, because people say, do you work all 7 days a week? And I'm like, well, during the week, I'm offensive. I'm going out. I'm trying to get business. Yeah. On the weekend, it's defensive. Yeah. So if I have a contract deadline, or if something has to be talked about, then I have to. Like, I have to engage on a weekend. Yeah. But it's only defensive. I'm not like it's if I have to.
Sure.
So that's helped me a little bit, be able to call it something and
You really try to like you set up your schedule to be like in the office Monday through Friday, 7:30 8 a.m. to 5 6. Get office stuff done, get showings done if you can, get listing appointments done, try to get all that scheduled during the week.
Absolutely.
And then weekends, it's like, if they need to do a listing appointment on the weekend, I'm not trying to schedule it on the weekend. I'm trying to schedule it during the week. If they need to show stuff, I will show it on the weekend. Yeah. If we're negotiating offers and stuff. Yeah, I'm much the same way. I love to just like go as hard as I can during the week. And then I just take, I just take 100%. Like the minimum phone calls, if it's somebody emails me on a Saturday and it's not that important, I may get back to them, but sometimes I just sort of like say I need to just let this wait so people. So I don't no offense, set the precedent that I'm just going to be available 24/7.
That's also in my voicemail. If it's a Sunday, expect a call back, on Monday.
Right, unless it's like an emergency. Right. Yeah, totally. I always kind of tell agents like if it's an emergency, I will I will be available. But if it's not an emergency, so setting those boundaries, so you've been able 100%. To have all that balance and stuff. Are you doing anything like new and exciting this year that you got like new plans for? And how's the year going for you with this current market conditions? Are you going to be able to maintain that $20 million with this inventory situation? Do you think?
I'll find a way. I'll find a way.
Yeah.
I think too. Just as another side note, we have the freedom to work wherever we want, which is great. But coming into the office is huge. I have gotten more deals, and I've gotten probably 4 or 5 flips, renovate and sell, just by being in the office and talking to people. Yeah. And, to me, it's like you just gotta, that's part of it, and if you're around people, so that's my plug for working from the office if you can.
Yeah. So, all right. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Other thoughts or insight before we wrap up here?
Just,
words of wisdom from the Rishi race.
Oh man, that's a good one. So I think I've been able to retain clients very well, and I think a lot of it is part of not passing things off, to be present. Yeah. But also, I don't love salespeople, and I don't consider myself a salesperson. I'm more of like a counselor, right? And
I remember when you went into Keller Williams got you to do like a day of bold training.
Oh my God.
And nothing bad about Keller Williams because they do a great job with their training, and they have a lot of people that have been very successful with that. But I remember you were came out, you did one day, somebody talked to you to do it. You're like, what would you
I might sell another house, but I'd have no friends. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So
it's about your knowing your spear and your style.
Yeah, totally.
Like your style, which you're about to kind of go into. It's like you're present, but you're also
And there's a quote. I'm probably gonna botch it, but it's like people won't remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And that's really been, for me, clients will have the craziest, concerns and, their logic. And if you can make them feel seen and heard, even if you think it's absolutely crazy, to be like, oh man, that makes complete sense that you'd feel like that, and geez, I can't imagine. but then also to refocus them. But if you know, to really meet them where they are, and then they're like, man, this guy, he's like actually cares.
Yeah,
and it's true.
Mark's wife is a therapist, so he gets a lot of understanding of how to be a good therapist in this business, which we all know. A lot of this business has a bit of a therapy aspect to it. So you're really good at just like letting them be heard, talk them through it, keep them focused. So all right, guys. Well, if you have any questions for Mark about what he does, how he does it. I know that he's always open. He asked a ton of questions back in the day, so now it's your turn to hit him up. So, Mark, I appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us, and that's it for today. Thanks, guys.